Violin background. History of the violin and bow. The modern acoustic violin is an instrument with a very long history. In India and Sri Lanka lies the first evidence of a stringed instrument being played with a bow. Called the Ravanahatha, or the Ravanastron, it had 2 strings and a long bow and is still played by Buddhist monks today. Several instruments used in Europe during the Middle Ages and Renaissance were the more immediate precursors to the violin. These instruments included the rebec, a medieval instrument, the fiddle, also from the Middle Ages, and the lira di braccio, used during the Renaissance. Initially considered a lowly instrument, the violin was used for wedding and dance occasions. It was not until the great Italian composer Claudio Monteverdi, as well as other composers like Orlando di Lasso, did the violin start to gain some prestige. Its status gain was also aided by the creation of the music ensemble, the 24 Violins of the King, by King Louis XIII of France. In the 1600s and 1700s, Italy saw the perfection of violin making in the luthier shops of the Adamis, the Guarnieri, and Antonio Stradivarius. Even today, the instruments made by these masters, especially Guarnieri del Gesù and Antonio Stradivarius, are the most valuable violins in the world. In fact, modern luthiers still use the patterns created by these masters to make their violins. Like the violin, the bow started with the Ravanastron, for which it could have first been used, and eventually spread to Turkey and Persia, present-day Iran, and was used to play the kamanga and the rabab, or rebec. Under the rule of the Moors in Spain, the rebec came to Europe. In fact, initially, violin players in Europe would simply play the violin using the same bow used for the rebec or fiddle. These bows could be shorter than the more modern violin bow, being only 8 to 12 inches in length. The stick of the bow also had a strong convex curve. Players would also perform with a closed fist or an underhanded bow technique. Perhaps predictably, the modern bow looks different than its predecessor. Innovations in bow making which brought about the modern bow were created by François Xavier Torte, who lived from the mid-1700s to the early 1800s. Besides the slight concavity to the stick and the use of more hair than was traditionally used, sophisticated mathematics and engineering went into Torte's bow. More will be discussed about the bow later.